Ashraf Ghani, Mohammad Ashraf Ghani Ahmadzai Pashto/Dari, MHMD SHRF born 19 May 1949, is an Afghan politician, academic, and economist who is serving as President of Afghanistan. He was first elected on 20 September 2014 and was re-elected in the 28 September 2019 presidential election. He was announced the winner after a protracted process in February 2020 and was sworn in for a second term on 9 March 2020. An anthropologist by education, he previously served as Minister of Finance and the Chancellor of Kabul University. Before returning to Afghanistan in 2002, Ghani was a professor of anthropology at numerous institutions, mostly Johns Hopkins University, and later started working with the World Bank. As the Finance Minister of Afghanistan between July 2002 and December 2004, he led Afghanistan's attempted economic recovery after the collapse of the Taliban government. He is the co-founder of the Institute for State Effectiveness, an organization set up in 2005 to improve the ability of states to serve their citizens. In 2005, he gave a TED talk in which he discussed how to rebuild a broken state such as Afghanistan. He is a member of the Commission on Legal Empowerment of the Poor, an independent initiative hosted by the United Nations Development Program. In 2013, he was ranked 50th in an online poll to name the world's top 100 intellectuals conducted by Foreign Policy magazine and second in a similar poll run by Prospect magazine. An independent politician, Ghani came in fourth in the 2009 presidential election, behind Hamid Karzai, Abdullah Abdullah, and Ramazan Bashar Dost. In the first round of the 2014 presidential election, Ghani secured 35% of the vote, second to Abdullah, who secured 45% of the votes cast. However, in the second round, Ghani secured around 55.3% of the votes, while Abdullah secured around 44.7% of the votes cast. As a result, chaos ensued and the United States intervened to form a unity government. Ghani was re-elected when the final results of the 2019 presidential elections were announced after a long delay on 18 February 2020. He was sworn in as president for a second 5-year term on 9 March 2020. Early life. Ghani was born on 19 May 1949 in the Lagar province in the Kingdom of Afghanistan. He belongs to the Ahmadzai Pashtun tribe. As a foreign exchange student, Ghani attended Lake Oswego High School in Lake Oswego, Oregon, and graduated with the class of 1967. He initially wanted to study law, but then changed his major to cultural anthropology. Ghani attended the American University in Beirut, where he earned his bachelor's degree in 1973, and after that attended Columbia University, where he earned his master's degree in 1977 and a PhD degree in 1983. He met his future wife, Rula, while studying there. Academic career. Following his bachelor's degree, Ghani served on the faculty of Kabul University 1973-77 and Aarhus University in Denmark 1977. Following his PhD degree, he was invited to teach at University of California, Berkeley in 1983, and then at Johns Hopkins University from 1983 to 1991. He has also attended the Harvard and Seed and World Bank Stanford Graduate School of Business's Leadership Training Program. His academic research was on state building and social transformation. In 1985, he completed a year of fieldwork researching Pakistani madrasas as a Fulbright scholar. World Bank. Ghani joined the World Bank in 1991, working on projects in East and South Asia during the mid-1990s. Political career. Returning to Afghanistan after 24 years in December 2001, Ghani left his posts at the UN and World Bank to join the new Afghan government as the chief advisor to President Hamid Karzai on 1 February 2002. After leaving Kabul University, Ghani co-founded the Institute for State Effectiveness with Claire Lockhart, of which he was chairman. The institute put forward a framework proposing that the state should perform 10 functions in order to serve its citizens. This framework was discussed by leaders and managers of post-conflict transitions at a meeting sponsored by the UN and World Bank in September 2005. The program proposed that double compacts between the international community, government, and the population of a country could be used. Ghani was tipped as a candidate to succeed Kofi Annan as Secretary General of the United Nations at the end of 2006 in a front-page report in the Financial Times that quoted him as saying, "I hope to win through ideas." Carlos Pascual of the Brookings Institution was also quoted, praising Ghani's tremendous intellect, talent, and capacity. In 2005, Ghani gave keynote speeches for meetings including the American Bar Association's International Rule of Law Symposium, the Transatlantic Policy Network, the annual meeting of the Norwegian government's development staff. He contributed to the Financial Times, International Herald Tribune, Los Angeles Times, the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, and the Washington Post. Finance Minister of Afghanistan. He carried out extensive reforms, including issuing a new currency, computerizing treasury operations, instituting a single treasury account, adopting a policy of balanced budgets, and using budgets as the central policy instrument, centralizing revenue collection, tariff reform, and overhauling customs. He instituted regular reporting to the cabinet, the public, and international stakeholders as a tool of transparency and accountability, and required donors to focus their interventions on three sectors: improving accountability with government counterparts and preparing a development strategy that held Afghans more accountable for their own future development. Poverty eradication through wealth creation and the establishment of citizens' rights is the heart of Ghani's development approach. The National Solidarity Program covers 13,000 of the country's estimated 20,000 villages. 2009 presidential election. In January 2009, an article by Ahmed Majidyar of the American Enterprise Institute included Ghani on a list of 15 possible candidates in the 2009 Afghan presidential election. On 7 May 2009, Ashraf Ghani registered as a candidate in the 2009 Afghan presidential election. Ghani's campaign emphasized the importance of a representative administration, good governance, a dynamic economy, and employment opportunities for the Afghan people. Unlike other major candidates, Ghani asked the Afghan diaspora to support his campaign and provide financial support. He appointed Mohammad Ashraf Ghani as one of his vice president candidate deputies, and paid for the noted Clinton campaign chief strategist James Carville as a campaign advisor. Preliminary results placed Ghani fourth in a field of 38, securing roughly 3% of the votes. Reconstruction. On 28 January 2010, Ghani attended the International Conference on Afghanistan in London, pledging his support to help rebuild their country. Ghani presented his ideas to Karzai as an example of the importance of cooperation among Afghans and with the international community, supporting Karzai's reconciliation strategy. Ghani said hearing Karzai's second inaugural address in November 2009 and his pledges to fight corruption, promote reconciliation, and replace international security forces persuaded him to help. Presidency. After announcing his candidacy for the 2014 elections, Ghani tapped General Abdul Rashid Dostum, a prominent Uzbek politician and former military official in Karzai's government, and Sarwar Danish, an ethnic Hazara, who also served as the justice minister in Karzai's cabinet, as his vice presidential candidates. After none of the candidates managed to win more than 50% of the vote in the first round of the election, Ghani and Abdullah, the two front-runners from the first round, contested in a runoff election, which was held on 14 June 2014. Initial results from the runoff elections showed Ghani as the overwhelming favorite, to win the elections. However, allegations of electoral fraud resulted in a stalemate, threats of violence, and the formation of a parallel government by the camp of his opponent, Abdullah. On 7 August 2014, U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry flew to Kabul to broker a deal that outlined an extensive audit of nearly 8 million votes and formation of a national unity government with a new role for a chief. After a 3-month audit process, which was supervised by the United Nations with financial support from the U.S. government, the Independent Election Commission announced Ghani as president after Ghani agreed to a national unity deal. Initially, the Election Commission said it would not formally announce specific results. It later released a statement that said Ghani managed to secure 55.4% and Abdullah secured 43.5% of the vote, although it declined to release the individual vote results. In September 2019, an explosion near an election rally attended by President Ashraf Ghani killed 24 people and injured 31 others, but Ghani was unhurt. At age 65, Ghani became the oldest inaugurated Afghan ruler since the foundation of the Durrani Empire in 1747. At his 2019 re-election at age 70, he overtook Mohammad Ashraf Khan to become the oldest incumbent president. Economy and trade. Relations with Pakistan. Since his election, Ghani wanted to improve relations with Pakistan, which in turn could pave the way for peace talks with the Taliban. He made his first visit to Pakistan on 14 November 2014, meeting Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif. However, after many terror attacks in Afghanistan, which were largely blamed on Pakistan, and failed Taliban peace talks, Ghani grew increasingly cold to Pakistan. Ghani claimed that Pakistan had hit an undeclared war of aggression against Afghanistan. Following 2 deadly Taliban/Haqqani attacks in Kabul in January 2018, Ghani called Pakistan the center of the Taliban. Tolo News, while quoting an unnamed source, alleged that Ashraf Ghani had refused to take a call from the Pakistani Prime Minister. Instead, he sent an NDS delegation to hand over evidence that the terrorists were supported by Pakistan. However, Afghan envoy Omar Zakhilwal rejected such reports regarding Ghani's phone call rejection with Pakistan Prime Minister. He stated that no phone call took place between the two leaders and that such reports are baseless. Relations with Taliban. In an interview with Vice News, Ghani said that his heart breaks for Talibans. He further stated that Talibans are Afghans and he is president of all Afghans. Ashraf Ghani also said that he is willing to offer Afghan passports to the Taliban and to recognize them as a legitimate political group in Afghanistan as an attempt to strike a peace deal with them. In March 2021, in an attempt to advance the peace talks, Ghani expressed his intentions of convincing the Taliban to hold fresh elections and allow forming of a new government through a democratic process. Ghani blamed the Taliban for the 2021 Kabul school bombing, but Taliban spokesman Zabihullah Mujahid denied involvement in the attack in a message released to the media. Many of the Kabul residents held Ghani responsible for the attack and raised loud chants against the Afghan government and security forces. On 2 August 2021, Ghani blamed the sudden withdrawal of U.S. troops from Afghanistan to the advance of the Taliban and said the latter had not cut ties with terrorist organizations and had escalated attacks against women, which the Taliban denied. On 11 August 2021, Ghani appealed to the local warlords and private militias to fight the Taliban and also appealed to a popular uprising against the Taliban. On the same day, Pakistani Prime Minister Imran Khan reported that the Taliban would not negotiate or hold peace talks with the government as long as Ghani remains as the president. Political views. Ghani is pro-modernist and a fond admirer of former Afghanistan's progressive King Amanullah Khan and President Mohammad Ashraf Khan. Personal life. Ashraf Ghani is married to Rula Saad, who was born into a Lebanese Christian family. The couple married after they met during their studies at the American University of Beirut, Lebanon during the 1970s. They eventually settled in the United States and obtained U.S. citizenship. However, Ghani renounced his U.S. citizenship in 2009 so he could run in Afghan elections. Ashraf and Rula Ghani have two children, a daughter, Mariam, a Brooklyn-based visual artist, and a son, Tariq. Both were born in the United States and carry U.S. citizenship and passports. In an unusual move for a politician in Afghanistan, Ghani at his presidential inauguration in 2014 publicly thanked his wife. "I want to thank my partner, Bibi Gul, for supporting me in Afghanistan," he said. "She has always supported Afghan women, and I hope she continues to do so." Ashraf Ghani also owns 200 acres of land in Sirkab area of Lagar province. Abdul Baki Ahmadzai, who is close to Ashraf Ghani, claims that Ashraf Ghani inherited a lot of land from his father. However, Ashraf Ghani bought this 200 acres of land separately in Lagar province. Ghani lost most of his stomach after suffering from cancer in the 1990s. It is said that Ghani wakes up every morning before 5 and reads for 2 to 3 hours. He is the older brother of Hashmet Ghani Ahmadzai, an Afghan politician who is the Grand Council chieftain of the Kuchis. Controversy. On 2 February 2020, Ashraf Ghani made controversial remarks while talking about Timur and Mohammad of Ghor, which angered the Uzbek population of Afghanistan. He made those remarks while delivering a speech to a group of Afghan students on history, culture, and the national identity. Ghani stated that Mohammad of Ghor destroyed Afghanistan's central irrigation system while Genghis Khan demolished the irrigation system of the northern provinces. Ghani also taunted Turkic conqueror Amir Timur by calling him lame and stated that Timur wiped out the irrigation system for Sistan, Farah, and Helmand provinces. His remarks regarding Timur were considered highly offensive to Uzbeks, according to experts, which drew widespread condemnation from Afghanistan's Uzbeks population. Following his remarks, residents of Faryab province staged protests and demanded an apology from Ashraf Ghani. The protesters threatened that they would take serious action if Ghani did not apologize for his remarks. Abdul Rashid Dostum, former vice president of Afghanistan and an ethnic Uzbek, also demanded an apology from Ashraf Ghani. Bashir Ahmed Tayanj, spokesperson of the National Islamic Movement of Afghanistan, said that Ghani has a personal bias towards historic figures, honorable ethnicities, the history and culture of the people who live in Afghanistan. This is not his first time. However, the Afghan government palace in a statement defended Ghani's remarks and stated that what Ghani said about Timur was not offensive or insulting,